The Mavic Air 2 may have just come out, but the original Mavic Air is still pretty damn good. Now pair it with this set of ND filters and you got yourself a pretty good combo. Welcome back to the channel, my name is Sam, and of course this week we're going to be talking about the original Mavic Air and pairing it with these ND filters. Now I've been really enjoying shooting with this thing. A big thanks to my buddy Kian who's been loaning this to me sort of on long term. I've spent the last couple of months practicing with it and getting better and more confident as a pilot, and of course we recently went to Broadstairs down in Kent. I shot, basically did a little short drone film with it, and I was testing these out. So without further ado, here is some footage down in Broadstairs and the surrounding area, testing out this drone with these ND filters. Right. Charles. Yeah, baby. Charlie. I've been testing out these ND filters. There's quite a few out there, but these ones I found on Amazon for £20 about, from a company called SKYREAT, or SKYRATE. Gives you 4 ND filters. Now I've actually got one on here, and I'll talk about that in a second. It goes all the way from ND4, 8 and 16 to 32. And the 32 is the one I've been using. So if you're flying a drone in daylight, I found ND32 is, in most situations, perfectly good, because I think a lot of these ND packs only go up to 16, which just isn't enough really if you want a proper sort of 1/50 shutter. But yeah, I found the ND32 is great in almost all situations. We took it out in the evening last night, and I only had to go up to about ISO 200 to be able to expose correctly. And then earlier I was able to shoot 1/50 at ISO 100 in direct sunlight. Now the only time this does become a problem is if you're actually filming and the sun's like in front of you. You will get blowout, so you do need to crank the shutter a little bit. I haven't noticed too much colour shift, which is really good, because you'll find with cheaper NDs that does tend to happen. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed, so I'm going to keep flying these about more and see how I think. But overall, so far, they probably would have my recommendation. Okay, and I'm back home and miraculously wearing the same t-shirt. I definitely didn't shoot all this stuff at the same time. As I said just now, or a couple of weeks ago, I guess it would be, I'm really impressed with these things. So firstly, the one thing I will say is the case is pretty huge for what they are, but actually that kind of makes sense because you're not really going to lose this case very easily. They're really well made, they stay on, no issue. I only really used ND32 because all the others just weren't dark enough. Because of the practicality of having to constantly switch them over if you want exact exposure, I'd rather just put the darkest one on and then maybe bump the ISO to just 200, and then if I need to boost the exposure in post and do a bit of noise reduction, I will. Obviously you lose a bit of detail and stuff, but I would rather do that for practicality's sake than constantly switching. But obviously if I was on a proper, professional shoot and I had time, yeah, I probably would switch them over. So yes, overall really impressed. You can see the full film. I'll put a link in the description that I did. You can see the full film there. And yeah, there'll be plenty of more drone stuff coming in the coming months, I suppose. But yeah, this thing definitely, if you're in the market for a drone, don't discount the Mavic Air, and certainly don't discount these things. Go on Amazon, I think they're about £20. SKYREAT ones are really good. There's also ones by Newer. You can pay a bit more and get the Polar Pro ones, but if you're on a bit of a budget, these are really good. As I said, yeah, the Mavic Air, still a great drone. The battery life is reasonable, and I've got a second battery, so I can do sort of at least a good sort of half an hour of flying, and you can get plenty of stuff in that time. The main thing, as I said, is the bitrate. Now, straight out of the box, the settings on the picture profile are, they're okay, but actually if you want something more filmic, then turn down the sharpness. Obviously use something like D. Again, 180-degree shutter. Because it's 100 megabits and not 60, when you've got detailed things like sort of trees and lots of sort of small things on screen, it's not kind of going all mushy like it did with the original Mavic Pro. So yeah, definitely worth, if you don't mind the slightly more limited range on this one, then yeah, consider this because they're really affordable. Otherwise, go for a more expensive one. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. As always, if you haven't subscribed, please do. We do videos every week on video production, photography, music production, all that good stuff. So subscribe, notifications on to stay alerted for our next video, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Today, we are examining the rare Neil Hibbert. Look at the way he grazes in the marshes. This is his natural habitat.
Looking different. Yeah, it's menacing stance. 30 frames a second the whole time. It's awful.
He tries to scare away predators by spotting them from miles away, but little does he know